Hey everybody, welcome back to Bish's RV. My name is Josh the RV Nerd, and I'll be your guide today basically as we go through some really sharp updates, in my opinion, on our very popular 26 RLS. This is, if I oversimplify this is something with half-ton towing potential. It's going to depend on your vehicle and a few other factors, but half-ton towing potential. But it's a couples model with incredible guest sleeping capacity because it has a full trifold sleeper sofa on the back and a big full true U dinette. So this is something that could sleep like 4 adults. Now, it's primarily made to sleep comfortably 2 adults, especially now in the front bedroom. There was always room for a true queen. And we finally got it implemented that this would actually ship from the factory with a true queen bed, which I think is very awesome and very exciting. It's not an amazing mattress, but at least it's the size where like you can get the correct idea and realize that you could totally put a true queen bed in this. But we've also enhanced the bedroom storage. We've enhanced a couple aspects of the bathroom. We've tuned up the kitchen a little bit, and the entire exterior of this thing has had a very nice facelift that I'm very glad to see. I think it looks so much newer and modern and sharper compared to the ones that were made at the time I'm recording this, even a month ago. It's made a nice leap forward, but it still has those awesome hitter features like the bigger air conditioner, the factory standard solar package, some basic inverter prep, a heated enclosed underbelly. But don't get me wrong, this isn't intended to be like you're going to sit off the boondocks and run in this thing for like 2 weeks. It's not made for that at all by default. Could it get there? Sure, with some work and with some money. But by default, this is a simple, smart, effective couples camper that, like, if you're like, well, we might have some grandkids every now and then, don't get a bunkhouse. Don't waste 8 foot of your camper on a maybe guest. Get something like this where you get to enjoy the entire thing and you still have the ability to sleep some guests when they come. That's the beauty of this floor plan. So a first things first kind of housekeeping note on this. I'm very happy with a lot of the updates that went into this, but sometimes we have too many people with too many voices in the room, and we basically resulted in a miscommunication with our production partner, where the unintended style of legs was applied to this dinette. It's you'll see the table sitting outside. I'll demonstrate this in a sleeper mode later, but basically there were a set of folding legs attached to this, which on the surface I really like. But the problem is, in a U dinette, they basically prevent you from getting into the dinette unless you wrestle the table, and that's a buck stops here. That's a Bish's RV fault that we're going to get worked through. So all of them for the 2025 season aren't going to have that. It's just a quick transitional item that we're working out of. If you bump into one of those at one of our stores, if that's a problem, tell us. We can change table legs on something. That's just screwdriver work. That's no big deal. But beyond that, what are we looking at? This thing has some big window coverage. To be fair, not a lot of it is on the camp side of the RV, but we did what we could where we could. Now, there's a couple little updates that we've applied to this. Like, I can't remember if before we had the full window in the door. I think we did. It doesn't matter. We do now. It doesn't include its own privacy shade, but that's like a $40 widget that you could pop onto this RV. It literally requires no text and no screwdrivers. We've also started including a couple of these handy little fold down hooks in different areas of the RV, especially in the bathroom or right here by the door or by the bed, to give you a place to like hang a jacket or a fly swatter or something like that, you know. The interior decor has been facelifted a little bit compared to last year. It's a little lighter. It's a little more in the gray family, a little less in the brown tone family. And as a result, I think it just personally looks a little bit better. The rear sofa is cloth touch, which I like. The dinette is that pleather stuff. And, this is a basic, less expensive trailer. Full cloth touch does add a couple bucks. Let me ask you a question. Do you think in our Go Play series, we should keep using the pleather skin on some of the seating? Or should we go cloth touch across the board? I don't even know if we're able to do that with our production partner with specific... There's funny limitations to how we have these Go Play products accomplished. But if we could... what skin would you prefer on your seating? I would love to hear that from you. As always has been the case with our Go Plays, they are 6'9" from floor to ceiling, and that is 3 inches taller than industry standard. And there's other campers that have that same interior height, but there's plenty of very popular RVs that don't. and it opens up the space. It means more headroom, more open air, more headroom in the shower, taller cabinets. There's a lot of really cool benefits that kind of go along with that. Now, I've got these little Go Play pillows kind of in the way. Allow me to get one of these out of here for you. I want to mention this because we do have power outlets on both sides of the sofa. Now, we don't necessarily have USB plugs everywhere in one of these, but we do have a lot of household outlet coverage in your more key positions. And overall, this is not a series of RVs that is really intended for extreme heavy boondocking or anything like that. So, if you are park camping, you can get one of those little, your charger adapter that you plug into an outlet at your house. You can get one of those and put those in here. We have made a couple changes to the kitchen that I like. I like the toe kick at the bottom of the kitchen cabinetry there. It's a bunch of small little thoughtful details that we've applied to these. And you're not like, oh, I'm going to buy this specifically because it has a toe kick in the kitchen. I don't think that's reasonable, but I think it's a whole bunch of little things that we've done all together that kind of, for me, sort of move the needle. Because the toe kick really eliminates a lot of lower back stress and pain when you're actually trying to stand at the stove or stand at the sink and do your dishes. I don't think we had sink covers in these previously, so I am really glad to see the cutting board cover and the rollaway dish drying rack wombo combo come into place, because those are very functional items. If you're going to do any kitchen prep, having a cutting board is handy, and the fact that it can also double as a sink cover means it's doing 2 in 1, because storage space in an RV can be limited. So having one thing that does 2 things is very, very useful. We are carpetless. Go Plays do still have some floor ducted heating vents. We did our best to try to get them moved into slightly more out of the way locations. But when you're running floor ducted heating, you are kind of limited on where those things can go sometimes. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's absolutely perfect and ideal and nobody should ever want anything else. I could see some people not liking that, but I try to be real about it. I try to let you know what our campers have and what they don't, and let you decide if it's the right thing for you or not. One thing about this, our little, it's a thing I call turning chicken poop into chicken soup. Our little oops on the table legs, the fact that I'm displaying this in open pseudo lounge mode like this, it really does kind of drive home the fact that if everybody's stuck inside here and you don't really have any use for a table, like there's a bunch of people who say, I have no use for a dinette table. I have no use for a dinette, period. This can kind of allow you to use it like a secondary open lounge. Not as comfortable as a sofa, but it can do the job on a pinch. And as we start diving through deeper details here, this starts to kind of to touch on the thing that I mentioned when the video began. This is a couples camper that actually has some really good guest sleeping. And I think that this is an ideal fit for a lot of grandparents. I've been doing this for over 16 years now, and I have encountered this phenomenon I call grandparent guilt. And there are so often that, grandparents, well, my grandkids are 6, 8, 9, and 11, and they want to start camping with us. And a lot of times that, when you're sleeping that potentially that many people, you think, okay, bunkhouse makes sense. But my experience very often has been that the grandkids don't tend to camp with you as much as you think they're going to. And usually in about 2 years, I see grandparents trading in their bunkhouse to get a couples camper because they enjoy camping and they need like maybe a bonus sleeper because maybe one of the grandkids comes every now and then. That's where this floor plan is so great, because it has a big dinette and a trifold sleeper that we'll see in a second. This can sleep guests when you need to without occupying so much of your space. Now, again, I've been talking about guests sleeping while we're looking at the kitchen. I figure you can understand the fact by looking at it that we're looking at a lot of cabinet space and storage here. But something I do want to point out in the kitchen is, especially in the stick and tin camper segment, what a lot of people call the entry-level camper segment, I think is a reasonably fair descriptor potentially for some Go Play RV segments. There's a lot of brands that have deleted ovens. And now some of them give you like an electric convection air fryer microwave oven, but we've actually maintained a full kitchen appliance complement here, including a normal propane oven and a microwave. So you're getting and instead of or. Now, we don't have a dedicated trash can space in this floor plan. I really would like it if we do, but part of it is because we have things like, I believe that's the furnace air intake there under the sink. You probably could still put a small trash can under the sink, but we don't necessarily have one accomplished straight from the factory. Now, as I back up here, I do want to point out a couple things. First of all, the location of the converter fuse panel, it's right next to the door, but it's out of the way. It's easily accessible. If the slide is closed, you can still get to that. So God forbid you blow a fuse, you know, you can access all those things. This is all pocket screwed lumber core cabinetry. And even here in a basic segment, we still have hidden hinge cabinets and magnet holdbacks just for a nice clean look. But on Go Plays, function is first and television is second. So we put the TV prep space fairly high, which I don't necessarily love. And by default, it's just kind of a big open pocket. But if you want to put a swing arm in there, you want to put a TV in there, it is prepped to be able to do that stuff. And we do have your controls up a little bit high. So if you do have a little grandkid guest over, something like that, they're not fiddling with your water heater controls, you know? Now, flipping the script the other direction, I really like this. The overhead cabinets, they defy gravity, basically, like David Blaine. They just have a simple but metallic strut on them just to help keep that open, you know? So you don't have to juggle that stuff open because it's up pretty high. You already don't want to fight with the thing. And this is the other bonus guest sleeper. This is probably more on the size range of what's called a full bed, not a queen. Like your dinette, your sofa sleepers, they're not queens. You know, they're oddball sizes, but they're big enough that if you have a smaller guest, or if an adult guest understands that they might have to sleep in the fetal position or have their feet hang off the bed so the bed goblin union can chew their toenails for them, then you're in business, baby. I like, by the way, that I use the phrase, so the bed goblin union chews their toenails for them, as if to imply that they would have chewed their own toenails otherwise. Real quick, I do want to mention, this is one of those little unsung benefits, typically, of a stick and tin kind of camper. A lot of people just naturally assume the fiberglass skin aluminum frame campers are just, quote, better. They're better at different things. One of the things they're not better about is putting power outlets in the sidewalls near your countertop level. Most laminated fiberglass skin campers put your power outlets under those overhead cabinets, and you need appliances with longer cords. And a lot of kitchen appliances really don't like to be plugged into like a power strip or an extension or something like that. So that's just kind of one of the things that I don't think people realize is a good aspect of these kind of campers. Now, other little tweaks. As we go through this, there's a couple little spots in the bathroom. We've added a handful of these. This is nothing major, don't get me wrong, but it's useful. It's functional. Having places to, like, you know, hang hand towels and stuff. And I'm going to spin you around like a record, baby. Over here next to the shower and the linen cabinet, there's more space, or there's more places so you can actually hang towels. But before we get there, take a look on the left side of the screen. The RV's got a 6'9" ceiling, as I mentioned. I'm a little bit over 6 foot tall, and I can stand in that shower. That's actually one of the reasons that instead of a traditional skylight and vent fan, we just put the vent fan above the shower like a skylight, because this already has a tall enough ceiling. Most people are not going to need a skylight for the extra headroom. That's really the biggest reason skylights exist in the RV industry, is headroom in the shower. So with a taller ceiling, we've been able to remove another thing from the ceiling. So there's fewer seal points, fewer potential leak points. And I don't have the hard measurements, but I do believe that is a 30 by 36 shower. So it is pretty decently spacious in there. And I've got myself twisted around at a weird point of view. So I'm sorry if this camera footage is goofy. But you can see around the toilet, that is just exceptionally fluffy friendly. Like, you can be a full-statured American-sized individual, and you're going to fit in there just fine. The open face linen storage is not my favorite thing in the world, but it's deep enough and it's narrow enough that stuff will generally stay in there, especially towels, you know. But this right here, we've got a hat hanging off it because marketing, but if you actually do want to, you know, have some towel hanging capacity in here, you can. Now, again, I got myself twisted around in a very weird way because when I make my RV videos, I don't play concert music where I have a plan. I play jazz and I make this stuff up as I go. And sometimes it's awesome. And sometimes it's inconvenient. And today I think we're getting a nice combination of the two. So we're going to take that opportunity to open up all the bathroom storage down here, of which even below the counter there's plenty, because it's a big counter. The RV industry loves to try to do this thing to make an RV feel fancy by putting 2 sinks in the bathroom. There's enough space here, we could have done that. We don't think that's functional, especially in a trailer like this. So we gave you 1 sink off to the side with a lot of counter space. That's more counter space than some RVs have in the kitchen that we have in the bathroom. As we shift up here into the bedroom, I do want to mention that it does have a sliding pocket privacy door. And again, you see a couple more of those hooks in key places. But I do want to, I'm going to mention this to my team. I like what we did, but I think we need to do it a little bit better, because I just noticed if that hook is down, okay, I have to retract my statement, because the door handle hits the valance, that hook is blissfully safe. But I still think that should be shifted over. What do you think? Do you think it's okay, or should the hook in the bedroom be shifted over a little bit? Any feedback you're willing to leave would be very, very nice. I'd appreciate that. I think we're including these little totes above the bed in that pocket there from the factory. That might be a display object. I'm not sure, because again, we had a lot of moving parts going on in these updates. But one of the things I didn't think we actually had accomplished yet, and I'm very glad we had, is that this is now finally a 60 by 80 true queen bed right from the factory. You probably, if you've watched my previous videos, you heard me say, well, a true queen could fit, but it's not in here, and blah, blah, blah. Well, now it is, guys and gals and everybody else. This is what I was trying to talk about on the other side. That mirror can hit that hook. I feel so strongly that hook needs to move. I like the hook. It's just, for $0, we just need to shift it a little bit. Now, this is a dual entry door model, because as we'll see in road mode in a few minutes here, when you close the slide, you're going to need the bedroom door to be able to get to the bedroom and bathroom unless you open the slide out. It is worth mentioning, you do have a deadbolt right there. So left means you're left alone. Right means they're going to come right in. I made that up just now, and I think that's an amazing way of remembering that. I hope I always remember that. That worked out really, really well. This is very friendly for side sleepers, by the way. You like to sling your arm off the side of the bed or your leg or something tonight. This is a very friendly setup for something like that. But what's under the bed is so much better than it was before, because it's still easy lift. But what we've done here is, instead of you always having to lift the storage or the bed to get to the storage, we've basically made the storage come to you in a sense. And I'm actually going to rotate around this a little bit. So you don't have to lift the bed, you know, the drawers open sideways. And we've given 4 dresser drawers to a bedroom that previously had exactly 0. And we were able to do that at essentially no increase in cost. And I think that's a more effective thing. And we left that gave us the opportunity. We left the middle of this open. So by default, you see the little laundry hamper down there, but we've had people use that to store shoes. We've had people use that to make a little pet bed, you know, all kinds of different little solutions that you can apply there. Now, I also have taken the opportunity to close the slide out, and you'll notice I had to close the bathroom door to accomplish that, because again, this RV has what I refer to as 2-stage travel access. So your front door is what you're going to use to take a nap or take a crap. Whereas the living room kitchen door, that's going to be what you'll use for snacktastic access. These are high-level industry technical terms, ladies and gentlemen. It's okay if you've never heard these before or if you're not prepared for them. But, you know, this is I feel like you're an educated audience watching these videos, and I feel like I can lay these down on you right here. Now, let me circle back to something. I meant to talk about this earlier. When that hide-a-bed is open, you might look at it and say, well, it kind of blocks the entry door a little bit. Isn't that a safety concern? It's considered okay, like everything is up to code, but that might be a valid concern for you. When that hide-a-bed is open, can you still sneak through it a little bit? Yeah, there's about a 6-inch gap right there, but if that's a problem for you, you might not want to use that hide-a-bed. You might want to consider a different solution. But while the slide is closed, you can basically get to everything. You just have to use both doors to get to it. And if you appreciate how we shoot you really straight on all this stuff, hit that subscribe button. Let us know we're doing a good job. We're going to hop outdoors and keep the ship on rolling. What's it going to take to tow this baby? Now, I'm shooting from the hip. I don't have the full weights and measures list in front of me as I record this video. Like, you're looking at it on screen, but I'm not looking at it in person. If I remember correctly, though, this has a gross vehicle maximum weight of about 7,600 pounds, and I think it's around 32 feet. For some folks, that's going to be big enough. You're like, I don't want to half ton that. Then that's okay. You should always tow according to you should always tow and buy according to your confidence and peace of mind. That's true whether you buy from us or not, basically. But there are going to be some people who will say, yeah, I think, I've got a late model tow package half ton. I'm not going to tow through the Rocky Mountains. It's, I'm flat landing where I'm at. Okay, fine. That's probably a decent half ton towing scenario with this camper. It kind of just depends. But it's not super heavy, Actually, for its size, it's fairly lightweight. This is one of the, there's several enhancements in this front pass-through here that I'm really excited to see. One of the first ones is that we're now including an outdoor picnic table with this. Now, I don't have it out for display right now. That little oops table leg scenario that we ran into on the inside of the RV, I'm going to use that to demonstrate an outdoor picnic table. So I thought I'd kind of show you both in storage and display mode, basically. Now, up front here, this RV does have some basic levels of inverter prep. It's nothing super fancy. It's only like 2 or 3 outlets. But we did add a battery disconnect switch, and we moved the solar charge controller. It's nice when it's inside to be able to monitor it. I get that. But we intentionally moved it into this pass-through for service purposes, because RV service is kind of, it's a tough thing. It's a thing that takes way too long, way too often. And we are doing our best to try to combat that with our RV Fix program that we have, which used to be called Bish Fix, by the way. You get a free year subscription to that with any one of these that you get from us, by the way. But we found through doing that, talking to our technicians internally, that we can get your RV fixed up and back out of the shop faster if the charge controller's in that front area, because it's just more easily accessible. Now, look at the awning on this. This one has some really nice awning space, and the dual doors are excellent in the fact that they're both nicely covered by the awning. Now, to be fair, well, they're both covered by the awning. I don't know, nicely covered is accurate, because they are right against the edge of the awning arms, which means you could get spritzed in the face a little bit. You might notice how all the windows are tinted to help keep the nosy neighbors and the sunshine out of it a little bit. Again, this is not going to be necessarily representative of the table that will always be in this camper. This was a miscommunication on our part to the production people on this. And on the short term, this camper is probably going to revert back to a pedestal table system. U-dinettes, there's fewer leg systems that are friendly to a U-dinette, so we are working on some better solutions. We know that a lot of people don't like the pedestal legs. I don't like the pedestal legs, but a U-dinette, there's just not as many things that are functional, you know what I mean? Anyway, moving on from there, we are ladder prepped. We have a fully walkable roof. We have 200 watts of solar up there, and we are also rear camera prepped. Now, I need your opinion on one thing. As we get down here, I do want to mention, just to help fill some dead air time, as I move the camera slowly to not make you motion sick, that we do have a heated and enclosed belly. But the propane connect, the gas comes out the backside like a propanus, but it's angled a little bit, kind of like a cooker hooker. So what is the technical definition that we want to apply to this thing? Is that a propanus or is that a cooker hooker? A couple of my folks rolling into the RV show where we're displaying at here. That is Kellen from our Traverse City store and Alyssa from our Ludington store. A few other Michigan alumni with me here. Anyway, if you're in the area, look them up. I don't know, stop by and say hi. But let me know what you think of this thing. I would have liked it if some of these changes happened a little bit sooner, but I am glad that they are happening. And do you think we're moving the right direction with this? Like the little hooks, just the basic little stuff like that. I get it's not major deals, but it just makes your camping experience better, easier. The enhancements to the bedroom and just the general look of it. I think we're on the right track, but you could say I'm a biased party. Of course I would feel that way. What do you think about it? That's what I would like to hear so that we can continue to develop this product a little further. And when you're ready, we're ready. So until next time, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping. Oh, yeah. You're probably going to wonder, like, you can see the price tag This 26,995 on that sign up there. I want to be very clear. That's what it is right here at this show event. Check the link in the video description. That will get you to our website where you can always see current and accurate pricing and availability, because that's what it is right now sitting here today. 6 months from now, a year from now, that might change. And sometimes people watch these videos 2, 3, 4 years later, and I don't want you thinking that's the tag today if it's 4 years from now, because then you feel like you got hit by a bait and switch, and that sucks. So always check our website for the most current and accurate pricing and availability.